This episode is brought to you by...
Looking to escape the ordinary and explore the extraordinary? Meet Jani Kovacevic, your personal luxury travel expert. Whether you're craving an epic expedition to the Arctic, a sun-soaked, all-inclusive getaway, or a once-in-a-lifetime trip with the whole family, Jani curates every detail for a seamless, unforgettable experience.
From bucket list adventures to multi-generational family vacations, she tailors travel to your pace, your passions, and your people, with luxury every step of the way.
Don't just travel, explore in style, discover with ease, and make memories that last forever.
Call 254-721-2000 or visit travelbyjani.com and start planning your dream escape today.
They'll talk about anything and to anyone. They're straight out of the streets of Temple, Texas. It's Randomness with Heath and Josh.
All right, what's going on? We're back. What's up, Josh? How you doing? Why are you laughing?
Because we laughed the last time.
The last time you're remembering us coming into it laughing. Yeah. All right. How you doing? You doing okay?
I am a lot better now.
Oh, that's right. You've been sick.
I've got a new. Well, I was sick with a cold since Saturday.
Right on.
Getting over that. Wasn't too major, but it was enough to make me worn down, tired. But in the meantime, I got a new tooth.
Oh, you've been knighted again. You got that crown. Yeah.
I should ask for a blue one. Then I could say, I got a Bluetooth, right?
A Bluetooth.
That'd be a good joke. I bet you you don't think I got a Bluetooth? But anyway.
I'm trying to hook up your speaker right now.
That's right. I went in and got the temporary taken off and the permanent put in, but it took them like 15 minutes to get the temporary tooth taken off. The dental tech tried, bless her heart, just like trying to wiggle it out. The dentist came in, he tried to wiggle it off, it didn't come off, so he ended up having to saw it in half.
Oh, damn.
To pry it off.
We all know what bless your heart means. It means that girl sucked.
Well, no, it's how you say it, though. Like, bless your heart.
Bless your heart, Luke.
No, but bless her heart, man. It's like, she tried.
No, they were using that Gorilla Glue on that tooth, man.
And they must have.
This stuff don't play.
Hopefully they used it on the permanent tooth.
yeah, right. Oh man, being 50, it's just I say it every time. It's just getting old ain't for sissies, man. It's one thing after another. It's always something. You're always hurting, and like you deal with it too. Like you don't even realize you're hurting because you're so used to hurting. You know what I mean? It's like I'm hurting in 3 places right now, but I'm not because I'm used to hurting. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like I'm numb to it.
And then when we get together, we talk about hurting.
Yeah.
I think our last boys trip, that's pretty much what we talked about the whole time.
Yeah, you're like, is this normal? No, that's not normal, dude.
Yeah, weather and achy bones.
Well, since this last week, I mean, we had a crazy week, but the one thing I was going to share is, so our neighbor moved in his mom, and his mom has some sort of dementia, senile type thing going on. And she already, when it iced over a few weeks ago, up here in Dallas, I was outside. She came out and literally with a cane was just screaming names. And, she was there by herself, which is not supposed to be happening. And anyway, so I call my neighbors. I'm like, hey, this is going on. They're like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. I'm like, I don't want to talk to her because I don't want to scare her, because she doesn't know me. She doesn't, and she's obviously, doesn't know what's going on right now. Anyway, long story short, she got back in the house okay. But last night, about 3:00, all of my cameras start going off and it wakes me up and then the doorbell rings. And I'm looking and sure enough, it's her. And she's trying to get in the front door.
She's 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Yes. Yeah.
God.
And when you're old and you wake up in the middle of the night, guess what? You can't ever go back to sleep. So and Cody the same way. She's like, what the hell? So anyway, playing with the doorknob, she's pushing like we have a keypad thing too. She's all like pushing it, and I'm like, why are you doing that? Because the door that the house that you're supposed to be at has neither one of those things. I don't know why you're doing that, but okay. And then but obviously, but anyway, it goes. I'm watching the videos later. Oh, let me go back. I called them, said, hey, your mom's trying to get in my house. I don't want to go scare her. Come get your mother. She went that way. And then, so I look at the camera later, and not only was she trying to get in the house, she was trying to get in Riker's car. She's like pulling on the doors and knocking on it and saying, Jessica, let me in. And I'm like, who's Jessica? And I've never heard, I didn't know there was a Jessica that lived around here.
Yeah, you shared that clip. That was wild.
Yeah, and then she actually, I talked to one of the other neighbors, and she did end up going into his house too, and he slept through it though. He's like, I just heard about it later, but he's like, well, yeah, she came to the door, but it just it's kind of a funny story, but it's very sad that that's what they're having to deal with. And so today I'm like, hey, here's what you need to do, because he's like, you could tell he's kind of, it's his mom. Right. So he doesn't want to do anything drastic. I'm like, dude, they make these locks that are for, they say kids, but they also say elderly people. And it hides at the very top of the door, and it has a little slider where you can't really see it. And I'm like, dude, just get one of those or whatever.
That's clever.
And then he's like, okay, whatever. But then I had to look at more, and I was like, man, they have those locks that are internal. So they're backwards. They're forward. They go both ways. And then you have to put a code in to get, or a fingerprint, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, don't tell her the code and don't fingerprint her, and everything should be all right. Wake up your family, not the friggin' block, So anyway, it's a sad story, but at the same time, it was kind of funny because I'm just like, what is going on here? And then the neighbors are sleeping through it, and yeah,
I don't know. Maybe she wanted to take his sweet ride out for this sweet car out for a ride.
Riker's car?
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, man, that's a nice car. I want to go cruising that.
He would have probably killed me for letting that happen. I don't know. Is that how that works? I don't know. Teenagers. Anyway. So yeah, this is episode 140. So we're getting really close to 150. That's freaking crazy, man. It's going to be 3 years, towards the end of next month that we've been doing this. 130 something guests. Yeah, it's wild.
If I had $1 per episode,
right, you'd have enough to eat out twice. Because it's so
right. Yeah.
It's funny. My neighbor just a while ago, I'm outside doing something, and he walks out. He goes, man, I went and tried this new barbecue place over in Argyle. I was like, yeah. How much was it for the two of y'all to eat? About $50. And he goes, yeah, I got a 1 meat. She got a 1 meat plate, and I got a 2 meat plate. We got waters, and it was $53.
What?
I was like, damn, man. Yeah. But that's barbecue. It's just gone way up. Like, I like to smoke stuff, and it's like now I'm just smoking chicken because I can't afford to go buy a brisket. It's freaking $200 for, well, really it's more like 100 something, but still. And then you buy $100 piece of meat and then you mess it up, you really feel bad. But, anyway, I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna smoke some Texas lollipops, I think, on Sunday. So I'm gonna work on that, bacon wrap them, something a little different. But,
yummy.
Yeah,
I haven't had your chicken lollipops yet.
Well, we'll do some the next time you're down here. If you'll remind me, they're real easy to do.
All right.
But usually those are the ones you're thinking, the ones I grill. I'm going to smoke them this time.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So hopefully it'll be a lot better. Give me some apple wood.
Some apple wood. Can you smoke meat with any fruit wood?
You can, but
like maybe plum wood or peach wood.
I don't think I advise it, but you can. But you just got to, different woods bring out different flavors as far as like a sour, even some do.
Because the common is cherry, pecan, apple,
hickory, mesquite. Yeah, those are pretty much the common Texas ones now.
But how about an orange tree wood? Smoke.
Orange tree wood. Yeah, never. Not that I know. I'm sure somebody's done it.
Let us know.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I bet you $100 it tastes like shit. But anyway. Anyway, let's get to it. So, as most times we have a guest. So, ex-Temple grad, is that how you say that? Alumni. There you go. Temple High School grad and director of doping control operations for the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. I got it right because I read it. Juan Caraveo is with us. How you going, man? Did I say your name right?
Yeah, you got it. That was good. You did a great job on that mouthful of nonsense for a title there. That's great.
Yeah.
All
You need to
right,
have a
welcome.
meeting. You need to have a meeting about that. Hey man, I got to cut this back. Can I just be like the doping control? Something.
Yeah, or how about just like director of chaos, controlled chaos? Because that's
I've got that nameplate at my desk. A chaos coordinator.
Right.
Yeah. That's about how it happens. By the way, as far as I too like to smoke brisket and meats, and I think like fruit wood does a real good job with like pork. I think it's kind of meat dependent. Like, like a beef likes a hearty smoke like oak and hickory,
Hickory,
At least that's what AI just told me. I don't know.
And then pork likes the apple, right?
Yeah.
Pork likes the apple. All right. Well, that's a different podcast, but if y'all want to dive in, I'll go all
Why
in.
haven't we done one on smoking meats?
We totally should. I've done competitions.
We'll
and
get
stuff.
Juan back on for
I'm in.
Yeah.
You could do a whole series. Like,
Well, there's podcasts on it. There's literally podcasts on.
Get a bunch of temple boys that have gotten into it.
Yeah.
At my son's school, they have a class. They have a smoking barbecue class. Yeah.
What? Like, is he in high school?
Yeah, he's in high school. I live up here in the Dallas area in Lake Dallas, and they have. Yeah, I think Temple does too, actually.
And A&M has a course. A barbecue course.
Wow.
A&M has tons of different, because they have cuts of meat, and my buddy Tim took it when I was my last year there, and it was great because they would cut up a cow and then bring a bunch of stuff off.
Nice.
Cuts of meat. Awesome. That was the name of the class. Cuts of meat.
I take that class every semester.
Right, and he had a holster for his knife and his sharpener that he had to have for every time he went to class. It was freaking awesome. He did that one, and he also did oh my gosh, where you recover pool tables, and that was a class. That was an actual class.
Wow. Like the felt? Like, putting the felt back on?
Yeah, well, you learn about like the slate and all the different things with pool tables and how to whatever. And I'm like, that's like a Saturday thing, not a class. Right. That's something you do from like 10 to 6 on a Saturday.
Weekend project.
And you do it at like one of those billiard halls, and you have lunch there, and you know what I mean? It's everybody take a lunch break, grab a burger,
That's right.
Cheeseburger in a basket. Here you go.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it makes me remember break time. We used to go there at lunch. Used to be there off of was it Fifth Street? Somewhere right over there. And we used to go, and the only drawback was when you're leaving there smelling like cigarettes, because that was before.
Where it's at?
What's
Where
that?
It's At? Was that it? Was it called Where It's At? Is that the one you're thinking of?
It was break time at some point, but man, it's over there. I think it's off of Fifth Street. Where the Safeway is, and there's a new gym there. There's a gym. Like literally down the street
behind.
That's actually off of 57th Street.
Oh, 57th, not 5th, 57th.
Yeah.
Right.
So I actually dated the dad that owned it. I dated his daughter for a while.
Did you
I used to go
really?
there all the time, and I grew up on 53rd Street. So I literally 2 blocks from it. Me and my friends spent a lot of time playing games at the 7-Eleven across the street when we were kids growing up. And then Sonic was down there. They closed it just recently, but literally we could call during the summer and be like, "This is Heath and Corey," and then just hang up, and they knew what we wanted. And you just go pick it up.
What was that pool hall? What was the name?
Man, I'm trying to remember
different
the
names
name of it. Yeah, it was several different ones.
Yeah. Yeah, but I man, for some reason, like break time is stuck in my head, and then it was, I don't know. I mean,
it's been numerous.
It had
names.
been. Mm-hmm.
It'll come to me tonight about 3:00 when that lady rings the doorbell. But all right, let's get into it. We can reminisce all day. So we've had Juan come on for a couple of reasons. First of all, our buddy Jeremy Lawson, who is just such a good dude, and he's helped us actually get several guests come through here. And he was like, you know what, you should check this guy out. And I got to looking around. I'm like, all right, he's interesting enough, I guess. We'll have him on. And I reached out to Juan. He's like, yeah, heck yeah, let's do it. And so let's just kind of start with your background. So you're from Temple, right? Mm-hmm. Or not from Temple, or how did that all, and just kind of growing up, if you want to tell a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I was born in Tucson, and then we went to Houston, I think, until I was about, like 5. And then we moved to Temple. And, every time I go visit mom, same house that I grew up in. And yeah, it's actually pretty awesome. I love going back. We usually go back a couple times a year, maybe 3 times a year. I take my kids down and, for the holidays and definitely in the summer. But yeah, I love growing up in Temple. I did all the things that you do, except for I only played one sport. Swimming was my only deal. I tried 7th grade football, and my coach said you should go back to the pool. And then I didn't try anything else. And, but yeah, I mean, growing up in Temple was great. Graduated Temple High School in 91. And, I had a great childhood there. I'm really thankful that my folks decided to settle there. My dad worked at Scott and White. Okay. And and then mom was volunteer extraordinaire. I mean, every teacher knew me before I got there. It was either because of my mom, or they'd say, "Oh, you're Leticia's little brother. She's my older sister. She's 2 years ahead." So, yeah, it was hard to get away with stuff. Growing up in Temple, everybody knew my business.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody. Of course, that's back when it was 40,000 to 50,000 people. Now it's 100 plus, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, it's kind of funny, and we kind of make the joke of anytime me and my family walk in a restaurant, it's like it's 1 degree of everybody when you walk in, because somebody knows somebody, whatever, or half the people in the restaurant. It's just kind of one of those things, which is very cool and unique to us for a town that's still, 100,000 people. That's a lot of people,
Yeah, I mean, it's still got kind of a small town feel. And even back then, 50,000, I thought it was tiny. And then I went to college with some people that were, at 1,000 max. And then I was like, okay, well, but Temple always felt like really, really tight to me. I mean, I think that's what I really liked about it, growing up there.
Yeah, I mean, you would go to, they had the 3 middle schools, but you still somehow or another knew every kid some way or another. Like you knew them from something, even if you didn't talk to them. You're like, oh, that's that one kid, because you're all were within the community and whatnot. It was funny when you said I was about to ask when you moved to Temple, what was it for? Your dad's job, was it Scott and White, American Desk, Wilson Art, or McLean's? Which one was
that
it?
was it.
Yeah, PI or something like that. Yeah, he worked at Scott and White. He was a cancer and blood doctor there for a long time, and then rounded out his career at the VA. Had a real strong pull to go work with veterans, and it was one of my favorite things to do. Like once I was older, because when I was younger I was just dumb. But when I was older, I loved to kind of, and I'm talking like college age and just post college. I would go up to visit him and surprise him if I came in town unannounced. And it was great. Like, I would hear him. He worked a lot with the residents, and I would just stand outside his office or wherever he was and just listen to him, teaching and talking with the residents. And it was just super cool. I mean, he was speaking a completely different language, but right. Just the way like he cared for people and for those residents. And it was super cool. I'd always stand there for 2 to 5 minutes listening in, and then, hopefully he'd be done with whatever he was doing. I just go in there.
Oh yeah, right. That's cool. That's rare, to get to watch your parents work,
Yeah. Super cool.
Or whatever. My mom was for a while, she was the secretary at Meredith Elementary, and I went to school there. So it was kind of, it was kind of cool. Oh, you went there too. It was cool that, that my mom worked there, but at the same time, it wasn't cool that my mom worked there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got a lot of fringe benefits from it, but you also got a lot of not so
stay in line.
right too. But well, it's like I'm sick, Mom. Well, I got to work, so you just got to lay on that couch.
Go to the nurse's office.
Yeah.
Was Bonnie Martin still there when?
Yep.
Yep. Oh,
yeah.
I love that lady. Man, I love that lady.
She passed probably. Has it been about 10 years now?
Yeah.
It's probably. And she was the great aunt to one of our good friends. So I actually saw her outside of school and whatever, but you could hear her coming down the hall with those heels and man.
Yeah. I always liked going to her office. She seemed to always have donuts.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd make up every reason just to go by there because she saw this, little pudgy kid coming. You need a donut. I was like, oh yes, ma'am. Yes, I do.
Yeah. No, she was awesome. All right. I said we weren't going to reminisce anymore, but we keep doing it.
All right. Sorry. My bad.
No, these are great. This I'm just giving you the tangents are the best thing. Yeah. That make about the show. If you ask me, and most people say the same thing.
Yeah.
But so you were big into swimming and Temple and whatnot, and then whenever you graduated from high school, kind of tell us. I know there's a transition where you went to Arizona to swim, but is that something you did immediately or?
Yeah. So I graduated in 91, and I love swimming, and I spent all my time in the pool. And I wanted to go swim somewhere, and I wanted to go to a Division I school, and so I got accepted into the University of Arizona, and not selected to be on the team, but I went to try and walk on. And so I was going to school and swimming with a year-round swim team that trained out of the college pool. And so, I was still getting up at 4:30 in the morning and, going to swim practice. And, it was great. And I think more so because I made some really cool friends that were in the dorm. Our dorm room was actually under the stadium. Super crazy. I think it was called a Arapaho dorm, all male. 3 or 4 stories. And it was super crazy because you're walking into the structure of the stadium. And then on Saturdays, if we didn't go to the games, we could hear it. Like you could feel like the vibration, the stadium shake. Yeah, it was super. Yeah. It was really cool. And, those guys really opened up my eyes to kind of a world outside of Temple. And I got to know guys from like LA and New York City, and we had some international students, so it was pretty cool. But I was pretty, I think, like most, immature, and then not as dedicated to my studies. And then in the spring, in September of that year, so I got there in August, and then in September, rollerblading was like a big deal at that time. It was just becoming a big thing. And, like a bunch of us laced them up, and I was, we were doing stuff we should not have been doing, not that athletic. And we were jumping like these, I don't know, they seemed really tall, maybe 3 or 4 foot like steps. And I ate it. And I ended up and I didn't know it at the time, but I dislocated my shoulder and tore 3 ligaments off of my shoulder, and I swam with it the rest of the year, and I mean, it was super painful. And, by the time I got to spring break and I got home, I told my parents before I got home, I was like, I can't do this. This hurts a lot. And so
like 7 months or something,
dude, tell me about it, we'd be doing these crazy sets, and my coach would I'd stop and I'm almost tearing up you can't tell with the goggles on, but I'm almost tearing up, and he's calling me all kinds of names, you can imagine, for being a wuss. And so when I got home and they went in there with a scope, they're like, yeah, you tore 3 ligaments off. You've worn down this thing, and bad news. So you need to have surgery, and you're probably done swimming. So I was like, well.
Did you immediately call your coach and say, hey, mother, this is why I was.
Oh, my God. When I got back, I was like,
Remember when you were
check it
yelling
out,
at me
dude.
for all that?
Yeah, he was. He felt small, but
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah. So then I came back and I just, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I went to UT for a summer, but I had no clue. It was literally the first time since I was 5 that I didn't have swimming in my life. And when you're an athlete like that, I mean, right now you look at those athletes that are in Italy. I mean, your life is regimented. You're waking up at the same time, you're going to bed at the same. You're not doing a lot of stuff, and I mean, all of a sudden, like I didn't have that, and I could do anything that I wanted, and kind of went a little nuts, and didn't really know what I was going to do. So I told my folks after that summer of going to UT, I was like, look, I'm gonna not go to school. I'm just going to work. And, my dad, bless his heart, just about lost his mind. And that's when he was like, all right, fine. If you're going to go work, that's fine. But I'm cutting you off. You got to earn your own. And it's like, all right. So I was living in Austin. I was sleeping on a friend's couch. I was selling, y'all know Cutco cutlery?
Yes, I do. Because my brother-in-law sold that for a while.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So I did that. I made good money, but I didn't like that. And so then I sold long distance for MCI before it went down.
Dang.
And I made really
yourself now, brother.
Oh my God. And so, my dad was getting pissed because he thought, I wasn't going to make it and all this other stuff. And, I was making really good money but there was something missing. That just wasn't enough. Like just working, and it was great hanging out. At that time in Austin, the music was unbelievable. I got to see, Stevie Ray Vaughan live before he passed, and it was just an amazing time in Austin. But it wasn't filling me up, and I had a friend of mine that I swam with that was going to school and swimming up at Austin College in Sherman. And he said, look, man, you got a couple years of eligibility left. Why don't you come up here, and go to school and round it out. And, fortunately, the head coach there, Sig Lawson, who I owe a lot to, anybody that went to Austin College during that time knows who Sig was. He was about my size, about 6'4", but the most flexible human being that you'd ever see, doing some weird stuff, putting his leg behind his ears. And it was crazy. You just do this at practice. And, he helped me get into the school. And so I finished up there. I swam out my, my years of eligibility, and then, started helping him out with some coaching at that time. So school, I wasn't the best student, but, it really, I'm one that kind of benefits from having a little bit of structure. So yeah, man, it was kind of a wild ride through school.
Yeah. So, were you there when Jeremy was there?
Yeah. Actually, because I took time away, I got there and I was older than Jeremy.
Right. Yeah. Because we graduated in 94.
Yeah. And so, I knew Jeremy growing up, and more of him and acquaintances. I knew his sister well, because Katie and I graduated at the same time. And actually, Katie and I were, when we went to Bonham Middle School, and we were both in the play You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. She was Snoopy and I was Charlie Brown. And so we spent a lot of time together. And that's really more so when I kind of got to know Jeremy a little bit, but really more when I got to Austin College, and, we became really good friends. I ended up, joining the fraternity, the Drake fraternity that they were in. It's, at Austin College, they're considered social clubs because they're not affiliated with a national group.
Right.
We did some of the same dumb things, but it was super tight. And, I'm still great friends with all those guys 30 plus years later, and
that's cool.
And Jeremy included. So actually just sent him a text before we got on. And, he's like, hey, I'll make sure that I give you a call right in the middle of it. So I muted the sound on my phone.
He's a good dude. Jeremy is very happy. I'm very happy that he's friends with us. He's just such a good person. And his dad is an amazing person.
Yeah.
They she recently lost his mom passed away not too long ago. Rest in peace. But Bill came on the show, and he was just as fun. He was so much fun.
Yeah.
He hadn't changed a bit. He was so much fun. All right, so let's move on. So from there, you finish school or whatever, and then you start your own swim team.
Yeah, actually. I got a phys ed degree, and there's not much you can do with the phys ed degree.
So you taught first. Okay.
Out of college. Yeah. So, SIG helped me, get my first teaching job, which was out in Lamarck, Texas, which is on the way to Galveston. Yeah. Tiny, right there next to Texas City. And last I heard, Lamarck lost its, accreditation with TEA. So I don't even know. I think they got absorbed by Texas City, but at the time they were a football powerhouse. And so I started out teaching elementary school PE. And then in the afternoon, I would go coach high school swimming. And, I had, being a football powerhouse, swimming was not a thing. Yeah. The fact they had a pool was shocking. So 2 years there, and I think I had 2 boys the first year and 6 the second. And then I went up to just north of there is a town called Dickinson, Texas. Yeah. And I taught there for 4 years and coached swimming. And it was wild because I took a bunch of science courses in college. So they had me teach intro to physics and chemistry. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't be too impressed because I was probably about like 4 chapters ahead of the students. And, I had, my other, the teachers in our department were really, really helpful. And fortunately, like I was teaching, freshmen that intro to physics and chemistry and those concepts were really, were not foreign to me at all. When we got into the chemistry bit, that I had to study a lot, but it was a great time. I was teaching juniors at that time, and man, I love teaching juniors. They were great. They're still nice enough because they weren't quite seniors, but they were becoming adults. Yeah, you get some seniors, they check out.
They gave a shit. That's exactly. Or a little bit anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on. Okay. So at that point, after that, is that when you made the move with your own team or however that happened?
Yeah. So while I was coaching at Dickinson, I was also swimming just for fun with this master's group in League City, Texas. And, the coach that I was, swimming with came to me and he said, hey, there's this lady that she wants to start a swim team out in Sugar Land, which was about 45 minutes an hour from Dickinson. And we don't really have the staff. We're not really interested in it. But I told her that, you coach high school, maybe she'll talk to you. And her name's Patty Sweeney, who, honestly, I owe a lot to. I mean, I think even the fact that we're sitting here having a conversation, I owe a lot of that to Patty. She and her husband, John, and her 7 children. Wow. Yeah. I mean, she had the most impressive left bicep you could imagine because for like 10 years she was carrying babies and they're all like solid big babies, I mean, I always told her, I was like, don't you dare come around me without a long sleeve shirt on and make me look bad, I mean, that's how big that bicep was. So we started a summer league swim team in Pearland that's still there today. And then we took a group of those families that wanted to go year round. So summer league swimming obviously just goes like April until probably middle of July. And then when you become a USA swimming team, it's year round. So it's, that 12-month deal. And, we had, I think, 10 families, 20 kids that started it. And, just kind of, that's when I found my thing. I was like, I love this coaching thing. It's awesome. I loved working with athletes. And so I, made the decision. I don't know if it was good. No, it was a good one, but at the time, maybe not. Like I said, okay, I'm going to leave teaching and I'm just going to focus on my swimming. And I was married at the time, and my wife at the time looked at me. She's like, "Are you going to make any money?" I was like, "Sure, don't worry about it." Yeah. And so started from there, and man, by the time I left there, I had at the peak about 360 swimmers on my team that were swimming year round. And
wow,
yeah, man. And I at the the summer league team was still going, and then I started a swim school at that same time, and I had a business partner that he knew a lot more about what I'd call the back of the house, running the business, the books and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I was more out front working with the curriculum and developing that. And, things were going great. I mean, it was actually a weird time as well, because the swim school started right around that mortgage crash. And so the swim school up until then was just taking off like this, and the swim team was just flat. But once that mortgage crisis hit, the swim team just started to grow, and we ended up closing the swim school because there was another business in town, another swim school in town that they'd been doing it just a lot longer, and they had a better facility. So we got lucky. We got out of that deal, no debt. So, which I don't know how we did that. But yeah, just, running those teams taught me a lot about just operating a business. I learned the hard way. Those first 2 years or 3 years of that team, my ego was, writing checks that my body couldn't cash, right? Out of Top Gun. And I had to get to a point, where I went to the parents and I was all like, I need those of you that I let not pay, I need y'all to pay. We got bills to pay, and then we turned it into a nonprofit, and it really took off, and I'm really proud of that. That team is still in existence. Signed it up with it's called Pearland Aquatics, and John Burke and John and his wife Ann Burke run that now, and I'm just so proud that thing's still there. I mean, we started that effort in 2003. So,
wow,
that's 23 years later, and however many thousands of kids. But
That's cool.
Really proud of all the kids we put through. But just as proud that we were able to provide a living for coaches. Coaching's not easy, and
a lot.
It doesn't pay a lot. And we were able to get to the point where we were providing some stipend for, healthcare and what I think is a really good wage. And, we're gearing up to start providing some for health insurance. So,
right on.
Yeah, it's super cool. And I mean, I still keep in touch. I watch what they're doing, and, John and I are friends. And, when I sold him to him, I said, man, just keep it going. Don't mess it up. Took a lot of work, blood, sweat, and tears to get here. And he's done a great job. So yeah, it's just kind of a wild time there.
Ready to secure your financial future? Whether retirement is near or far, it's time to take control. Talk to W. Marcus Hinn, a certified financial planner professional specializing in retirement investing and planning. Mark's goal is to help clients find peace of mind by creating customized strategies to help grow your wealth and protect investments. He'll tailor a plan to fit your unique goals, lifestyle, and dreams. Start today. Reach out to Mark and start your journey towards a confident, stress-free retirement. Find him at wmarcushenn.com. That's WMARCUSHENN.com. It's your future. Let's plan it. Securities and advisory services offered through the Strategic Financial Alliance, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Before we transition to the next thing, you keep saying Perlin, and I've always called it Perlin.
Yeah. Perlin, yeah.
It's what's funny is for whatever reason, in probably the last 3 or 4 months, somebody has said that city's name the way you're saying it. But I always have said it as Perlin. And so I don't know why I probably didn't hear half of what you just said because I was Pearl.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, it's super common down there. Like a lot of folks that grew up in that area pronounce it the same way. And what's really weird is that Pearland used to be rice fields. I don't know that there were a lot of pear trees unless I was missing it, but
I've heard that too.
Yeah, but when you look at the logo, there's a pear on the logo.
Yeah. No, I think it must be the southern thing, Pearland, opposed to Pearland. But I was just sorry, I really went off and joked that. As soon as you said that, I was like, no, it's Pearland. Come on now.
I love thinking about Pearland. I mean, it's
Pearland.
It was a great place. There's a lot of great people there that, kind of helped me grow up. I don't think we all, we grow up on our own. Like, I think everybody around us kind of helped us get there, and just had a lot of people that had a lot of faith in what I was doing. And even when I was stepping in it, rallied around and helped me out and just to grow into kind of a better businessman and coach. So, and then I lived right around the corner. If you're ever down there, and maybe you've ever heard of Killen's Barbecue. Mm-hmm. It's like I think at one point in time early on in its existence, it was like I guess Killen's Steakhouse was like a top 10 steakhouse in the country for a little bit. And then he opened a barbecue joint. Both of them were about 3 minutes from my house. So, we would have our, some team coach meetings over there and at the barbecue joint. Couldn't afford the steakhouse.
Yeah, I was going to say that steak you couldn't afford, but
no.
Well, Heath, do you have a different way to pronounce that?
What?
The steakhouse?
Killen's? I don't know.
Killen's.
Yeah, Killen.
That's what I thought what it was when I first saw it.
I don't know.
Killian. Yeah. All right. So you mentioned that you sold the team. So why did you sell the team? Was it because you were offered a job, or what happened there?
Yeah. So during my time at Pearland, I started from scratch. I'm sorry, in Pearland.
There you go.
I started from scratch. Like, there really wasn't much swimming going on out there. I think probably in the city, between like the high school team that was there at the time and some YMCA lessons that were going, maybe a couple backyard, there were probably about 200-300 kids swimming, and at the most in the summer, like in some kind of organized deal. And so, just starting it from scratch, like it's almost like religion. Like you're going to parents and you're like, no, seriously, let me work with your kids, give me your money. And I promise you these things will happen. Well, fortunately, I had a lot of talented coaches around me as well. And we got kids that started developing and started swimming, well at the local level and then at the state level and then nationally. Once we started getting kids there, I got the opportunity to go coach at some USA Swimming swim camps. And they have camps that, to kind of identify talent and funnel them up, with hopes that at some point in time they get on to the national team. And one of those camps was the Southern Zone Diversity Camp. It was great. My first camp, and it was at Louisville in Kentucky. And I mean, that campus, I can't even imagine it now. It was amazing back then. And I got to meet a couple of the staff members from USA Swimming headquarters. And one of them, her name is MJ Truex, who's a dear friend of mine now. And, we got along well, and, I thought we worked well, and she let me do a couple of other camps for her. I got to go to the National Diversity Select Camp as an assistant coach, and then I got to come in as the head coach for the camp. And so, one day I was sitting there eating a bowl of pho and just getting something to eat before I went to practice. And I saw MJ's number come up on my phone, and I was like, oh, cool. I'm probably going to get to go and do another camp, or maybe have that opportunity. And, so I called her back and I said, hey, what's up? And she's like, well, we have this job that is going to open up here at HQ that I think you would be great for. And I was like, awesome. I mean, I'd always, like, my career goals was either like get kids on the Olympic team and try and be an Olympic coach, or go and work at the governing body of the sport and help try to impact the sport at a national level. And then the other thing was that, running a business, I don't know if either one of you have started one or run one, but yeah. So, well, I saw that, Heath, no. Like it is not easy. Like, you are working 24/7. There's a lot of stress, and so, and you're paying for your own health care and all that kind of deal.
Yeah,
so this job came with all that.
You're like,
no, and it came with weekends. Like, I mean, I was at a meet every weekend, and it came with holidays. And, when you're a swim coach, you're doing double workouts over the holidays when everybody else is at home chilling, having Thanksgiving. So it just made a lot of sense for, kind of both my career goals and my family goals. And so, I interviewed and, got really fortunate that they brought me on, as a diversity and inclusion consultant. Now, did I do any diversity and inclusion work before I went there? No, but, I speak Spanish. I'm Latino, like I'm first generation here in Texas. Right. And I mean, I think it just kind of, for them, made sense. And I was like, I'm down. Cool. And so, that brought me up to Colorado Springs, where I'm at now. And I got to do a lot of cool work. Like, my territory was coast to coast, Alaska and Hawaii, because I worked with teams from underrepresented populations, and they're everywhere. There's not a lot, but there are a lot of really good people doing a lot of really good work in communities that don't traditionally swim. And I mean, I got to travel the country and meet a lot of really cool, like, coaches and athletes and also families. It was a really blessed experience, to be able to go do that.
Right on. So nice. Why Colorado Springs? That seems weird.
Yeah. Well, well, Colorado Springs is its nickname is Olympic City. Here, the USOPC, the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, is headquartered here, and there are a lot of NGBs, or national governing bodies of sport, that are here. So USA Swimming, USA Volleyball, USA Track and Field is not here. They're in Indianapolis. But at one point in time, most of the governing bodies were here. And so I love it here, man. I love Texas. But, when it's 110 back home and I'm sitting here at 89 or 90 and people think that's hot, like I can roll with that. And I don't mind the snow. It doesn't snow a lot. We have like 300 days of sunshine. So, super cool opportunity to move up here.
Yeah, right on. Okay. Well, do you have any I don't know. Do you have any crazy stories with anti-doping stuff? Like I don't know, someone that's can't say names, but somebody that did something. You're like, what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, well, yeah. So when I made the decision to leave USA Swimming, I applied for this job at USADA, the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, where I'm at now. And my first 2 years, I oversaw the UFC program. So we did the drug testing for the UFC, and that was a trip because I'm not a UFC guy, MMA, I think I like it more now because I saw what those athletes went through. I think they probably are some of the most elite athletes on the planet.
Right.
But it was a super cool experience to go see pro sport at an elite level. And I got to do a lot of traveling around the world. I mean, I literally on one trip went from Denver to Paris to Sydney and then back around. So I looped the globe. Yeah, that was super cool. But yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of things. I mean, obviously some of those things I can't say, but when it comes to athletes like doping, I mean, I was always black and white when I was a coach. I was like, no, you don't ever do that. That's the worst thing possible. But one of the things that I learned from the athletes, especially some of those that were coming from Brazil, they grew up in favelas. Are you guys familiar with those? So that's kind of those are the slums that are in and around places like Rio, and that's where I went. So what's really crazy is that the favelas go up on the hillside and up onto the mountain, and most other places, if you live up in the hills or on the mountain, you got a lot of money.
Right.
The complete opposite here, and there's a lot of violence, and I mean, the police often didn't go in there and mess with them, and that's where some of these fighters were coming out of. And, they weren't just fighting for themselves or the fame of it or, to get 2 million followers on Instagram. They were literally fighting for their families and their lives to pull them out of there. Yeah, man. And that really got to me. That's when I was like, should you cheat? No, but I get it. Right. I mean, if it's going to get you 50 grand or $100,000, I mean, that's life-changing, generational changing money for a lot of folks down there. And so, it was a trip, to see where those athletes were growing up, what they were about. Wild to see them train. The facilities that the UFC built in Las Vegas are world-class training center, man. I mean, they not only do they have great, weights and octagons, but they have a lot of health professionals that go and put together dietary programs for these athletes. And, when the athletes go and train there, they can pick up free smoothies and that kind of thing. And, but when you go to the fights, you see a lot of celebrities, and that's super cool. And you see a lot of their dates, and you're just like, wow. I mean, just, these women and men all walking around in Gucci and just high dollar, and then underneath the stadium, you get a couple guys that don't like each other and they're all dressed to the nines. I mean, they start talking shit. Oh, can I say that? Is that
okay?
Yeah, they start talking a little shit and then getting into it. And so people are pulling apart these world-class MMA fighters that are just about to go down, and so yeah, that was a trip. USADA is the company that, we're the ones that busted Lance Armstrong and that U.S. Postal Service group. That was us. And for me, that was always tough because, Lance Armstrong was like this icon of sport. But, now that I'm behind, on the other side of that door, and I see exactly what they did and how they went about cheating and it's wild. But the science of doping, like, as long as money and power are involved in sports, people are going to try and find a way to cheat the system. And, some crazy things like getting implants into your rear end for, microdosing, steroids, or
good Lord.
I mean, like changing out, IVs and pulling drawn blood and storing it, using like EPO. It's a lot of money and power. And so, like, when you're watching a sporting event and you see somebody that's just like head and shoulders above everyone else, like, I'm always scratching my head now. Like, how is that possible? Like, you see an NFL
I was about
player.
to ask that question. I'm like, when you see someone like, I'll say the name, like a Michael Phelps, right? And he's dominating and just dominating.
Yeah.
I mean, surely the doping agency is going, we better take a look at what's going on there.
I mean, Michael was one of the most tested athletes in the history of sports.
I bet. Yeah.
I mean, we tested him a lot. And, but, Michael also, you take a look at, when we look at athletes, you kind of take a look at their sports and then, you get to know like what training is. And there are a lot of other factors that go into who and when you're going to test somebody. But, when you have somebody that's so elite, you are going to test them. But he also didn't miss a single day of practice for like 5 or 6 years straight. Right. I mean, I'm telling you, sick or not sick, for 5 or 6 years, that dude was doing like, if he was sick, he probably only did one practice, but most of the time he's doing 2 workouts in the pool and then going and lifting weights and then doing recovery. So, and he's just a really elite, gifted athlete. That being said, like, right now, I think going on 3 years ago, it came out that, there were 23 Chinese athletes that were, had adverse findings and were still allowed to compete. And that's been a whole thing that we're still in the middle of it, that our CEO, Travis Tigert, man, that guy, I mean, I don't know that I've met anybody that has more integrity than he does. And that dude goes to bat. I mean, he is a brilliant man. And he's like this, he goes to bat for athletes. And so, like, when you look at who you're testing, there's a good example. It was maybe it was the Beijing Olympics. And, it was the women's 400 meter IM. And that's a race that I look at it as a coach, and I question the athlete that beat Elizabeth Beisel, who was a U.S. swimmer who got silver, and the athlete that got gold in her last. So it's a 400 meter swim of 100 butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle. I mean, it's one of the hardest events out there. And so by the time you get at the end, your last 50 meters of freestyle is typically not your fastest. Right. And that swimmer outsplit Ryan Lochte, who was, I believe at the time, may have been like the world record holder, or at least one. He was 1 or 2 at that time. And so you're looking at that swim and you're like, that's not right, and athletes get affected. You change careers. I mean, the trajectory of somebody's career when you're, racing against somebody that's doping,
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
To answer this, I always thought, like the Pete Rose controversy and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, these baseball players like doping and stuff. Why don't they create leagues that are all doping?
They are. As a matter of fact, this year,
Savannah Bananas, is that what?
Well, oh man, dude, that I want to go see. No. Josh,
It's hard to
I
get
totally
tickets
want
to
to go
that,
check
man.
it out. That looks like so much fun, man. And
It's a lottery to go.
Yeah.
oh, is it
lottery.
really?
I failed the lottery. I didn't
Yeah.
get tickets.
That's how many people go to that. It's a lottery pick to go to those games.
Oh my god! I
So is
would
that
love
what would
to go see-
happen though? Like if you created leagues that said, okay, anything goes, would it change? Like, would people not be interested in doing it the right way?
The regulated ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, right? So this summer, and I'm not giving them any love. I think it's a bunch of BS that they're doing this, but it's the enhanced games are taking place. If you kind of Google that, you'll
I've not heard that. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know when I think it's supposed to take place this year or next year or whatever. But what their whole thing is about the full potential of humankind through science.
Okay.
And, there's no testing, like,
God.
they'll tell you when you listen to these athletes, they'll tell you that it's under doctor supervision and it's super, super safe or blah, blah, blah. But, really it's about the money. And those athletes will make for a lot more money for like winning and breaking world records than if you were a clean athlete.
Because these supplement companies will be boosting them, right? Like
Josh, you hit the nail on the
literally,
head,
like
dude.
figuratively and literally, like
Yeah.
and monetarily. Yeah.
When you go on it, it's, I think that it's all about the supplements. Like they're just pushing supplements, a really big infomercial for take this stuff, But there are athletes right now that are, taking testosterone. They get in there and I think somebody already broke the world record, but they were, they were doping and they were using these banned suits that, were outlawed in 2009. And they were just think about swimming in a wetsuit. It just gives you a little bit more buoyancy and makes it a little bit easier to swim and go longer and faster. And so, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a show. I mean, to me, it's kind of like the equivalent of, the gladiators. You put them into the Coliseum and you don't really care what happens to them. Somebody dies, you go get the next one. And, my fear is really what it does for young athletes. I mean, we can't kid ourselves. There are a lot of kids at the high school level that are doing steroids, right? Like if you think about football back when we were in high school, and it's almost unregulated at the high school level. And then at the NCAA level, they do drug testing. The NCAA has its own drug testing program. But they do what's called advance notice. So they'll tell somebody, hey, you're going to get tested at this time. And where we do non-advanced testing. So an athlete has to register with us their whereabouts. You got to let us know where you are 24/7, 365. We can come, drug test you at any time, right? Because, that's how one of the ways that you ensure clean sport and also through education. And so I worry that like, kids are going to see this avenue to, go make some money. I think it's going to take, I don't know. I mean, it's really up to the audience to decide. Like if people don't buy in and don't watch, then, it probably goes away. But if there's a big following and if you start getting some big name athletes to move over there, like, that could change things.
Well, so a couple more things before we let you go. You were talking about this and I'm thinking the whole time is, okay, these guys they're taking these supplements, these drugs is whatever. I mean, they're basically destroying their bodies to a certain extent, right? I mean, so they're giving, and if you don't win, now you've given all that, you've done all that for kind of nothing, right? I mean,
What's that, Josh?
I was going to say it's probably going to be the fallout. They do this thing, they compete for half a decade, and then they start seeing these medical problems pop up because it's just wreaking havoc on their bodies.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely like Lyle Alzado, right? Like he was a really, popular football player back in the 70s, 80s that, he famously got cancer and all kinds of bad side effects from that. But, I think you got to kind of get into the mindset of an athlete. And, athletes just want the opportunity to compete. And, prolonging that for an older athlete is where I think, sometimes athletes make, some poor choices. If an athlete is close, let's say to being on the podium, making any type of football team, like those things
get that edge. Yeah,
get that edge, and they can change your life, right? Like you go out there and win a gold medal, for your country, and you set a world record. The U.S. government unfortunately does not, financially support athletes, but other countries do. I mean, they could be millionaires coming out of it, right? Like, and if you think about football players, like there's not a whole lot of difference between, you're going out there and doping up and taking a pain shot in the third quarter of the Super Bowl because you don't want to come out, right? Like those are decisions in the moment. You're like, I'm staying in. I want to compete. I will do whatever it takes. And that's why, like, we try to work on the education side when athletes and parents and coaches are young to, just kind of get them to hopefully increase the odds they'll make a good decision when and if that day comes. But yeah, man, I mean, you see I fully expect, I hope we don't see somebody get really hurt or, like death or anything like that. But, when your body is full of these chemicals and if you take a substantial amount before you go compete, like cardiac arrest is that's not out of the realm of possibility. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think you should earn it, like go out there and if you can't break a world record, if you can't do those things clean, then, it's probably somebody telling you, your body telling you it's like time to hang it up, man. But payday's a big deal.
Yeah. What's the most common drug that an athlete is using?
It kind of goes, depends on your sport, so if you think of, something that requires a lot of power and powerful movements, maybe it's like a HGH or a steroid, to either help you get bigger, stronger, or to recover in the case of HGH, or, maybe if you're like a Lance Armstrong, you're going to do some kind of blood doping, EPO, so that you can process, the lactic acid. And you pull, it's kind of old school, but if you draw like some blood out and you go freeze it for a while and you put it back in, like the red blood cells expand, can hold more oxygen, right? So I'm telling you, like,
it's wild.
It is crazy. The science of cheating, is.
Yeah.
I just
hope
levels
I never thought of.
Oh, dude,
right.
I just hope those asshats like accidentally cure cancer.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, we didn't get these athletes there, but we cured cancer, so let's be billionaires. I'd be okay with that. Like, as long as you're helping the greater good.
Well, wrapping it up here a little bit, what legacy do you hope to leave in the sport in the anti-doping world, or something that maybe you're really proud of that you've done while you've been there?
Yeah, I hope that I've got two things. Like, if I think of kind of legacy, because the kind of legacy question, like within the anti-doping space, like I want to contribute to the longevity of athletes' careers. And that means like fighting the fight to keep it clean across the board, so that athletes that are clean are not going in there and losing to a cheater, right? That's super important because it's not just the athlete, it's their families, it's their coaches and their communities. So, I want to be a part of that. And then the other piece, like, swimming's still really important to me. It's my favorite sport. And, that swim team that is in Pearland is, it means a lot to me that it's still going. And I was thinking about it that, over 20 years and, hundreds of kids and hundreds of parents and, the impact that team has had on kids' lives and that community, that's really important for me. I mean, I got girls that were, that I was their only coach from 6 until they graduated. And, one of them I think she just finished up her medical degree and is having a baby. She graduated from Harvard. I got another one that's two of them that are electrical engineers, one for TI, one for Ford, right? Like, I mean, I take a lot of pride in just being a part of them growing up to be good human beings, man. So, those are my two things.
Right on.
Yeah, I probably should have focused more on money, but what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, we're doing a podcast, so I mean,
I'm telling you, Heath, we need to get in the MMA realm.
Yeah,
my God.
I would take one hit and be like, okay, I tried.
No, not fighters, but just be in the business somehow.
Oh, okay.
There are a lot of folks on the periphery. I mean, that business, man, generates a ton of money, but you got to watch what Dana White's doing. I'm sure he's going to be expanding like that promotion. He started some other branch of it, and I think partnered with the WWE or F whatever, and they have a whole new promotion that merged 2 years ago, and so keep an eye out for that.
Right on.
All right.
Juan, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, man. I had fun. Learned a lot.
Yeah.
I even taught you how to say Perlin right.
Yeah. I will forever now. I can't wait till I go back down there and some of those folks give me some grief. But I appreciate y'all like having me on. This was fun and super cool, man. I think what you guys are doing is great. And
thank you.
I love seeing all the people from Central Texas, man. There's a lot of really great people that come out of there, and I appreciate you highlighting everybody for us.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. We're trying to do this as long enough to where when you go to Temple and find famous people, we're under the wiki thing where it's randomness with Heath and Josh. They didn't do jack shit. But that's basically what we're looking. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. But if you want to go in there and edit that, go ahead and put it.
I was going to say, I mean, I'm your Huckleberry.
But no, thank you so much for coming by and hanging out with us. We really, really appreciate coming by. I've never said that one before. Thanks for coming on the show and hanging out with us. We super appreciate it. Everybody, as usual, go to randomnesspodcast.com to check out everything. And don't forget, we're doing video now, so you can click on the YouTube channel and watch it too.
Yeah.
And then come back and watch it and look at our big fat asses. Hi. Hi, Mom. I love you. Sorry. Thank y'all so much. We're gone.